Hi, this is Paul again. I've got another video to show you, and I'm calling this the basic 3D geometry for 118 elements. Now for this, we need to use the CubicWonder system to start. Okay, this is a very important system because it does away with chaos. And because of that, I believe this is why this has been suppressed for 14 years. Now, CubicWonder is basically the integration of Plato Cubes and Bucky Cubes. Now, if you look at the Bucky Cube and Plato Cube, you see that I've got little spheres. Now, notice that these little spheres are arranged on the important vertex points around the CubicWonder. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to show you the quad-step ring system. So we'll start this by looking down on the top of that Plato cube. And now I'm going to bring in a 16-ball quad-step ring. Now you can see that the 16-ball ring, the red balls, align perfectly to the vertices of the cube. So now we'll do the same with the Bucky cube. And you can see on this, the red balls align perfectly to the vertices of the Bucky cube. Now by using quad-step rings and Bucky cube and Plato cubes, we now have the foundational geometry for the 118 elements. Okay, to start this, I'll show you the set of rings for quad-step. And now I'm going to bring in the first cube, and this one is going to be a Plato cube. Now the next cubes will go around the one in the middle, just like a bricklayer. Now this is two-dimensional work we're looking at. Now to show the next sequence, the bricklayer will show you this. This is 4 Plato cubes. Now he's going to show us a set of cubes around the 4 cubes, and that'd be 12 cubes more. Now if you ask the bricklayer why he didn't do the 1, 9, 4 and 16 blocks in one layer, he would say, "Are you crazy? That will give us chaos." So these layers have to be done in 3 dimensions to avoid chaos, because he's uneducated. And he has to work in 3-dimensional order to get a few dollars to go home. Okay, I've showed you the Plato cube. Now I'm going to do this with the Bucky cubes. We'll start with 1 in the middle, then I'm going to go to 9. So now we have to go to a new layer and start with 4 in the middle. And this 4 cube will now go to 16. And like I say, if we're working in 3 dimensions, there wouldn't be any chaos between the cubes. And I think I'd rather live in a house built in 3-dimensional order than 2-dimensional chaos. Anyways, let's get back to the 3D elements. I've put a PDF together, but I'm going to show you a PNG clip of this PDF for you to take a look at. Okay, if you look at this PDF I've made, I show it going from 1 cube and then it goes to 8 cubes. Now in front it just shows 4 cubes, but there are actually 2 layers, and that makes it 8 cubes. And the next set of cubes shows 9 cubes, but actually they are 18 cubes. And when we go to the next 16 cubes, actually it's 32 cubes. So it more or less falls in line with the periodic table. Between the two, the Bucky cubes and the Plato cubes, we have a total of 118 elements. Now what I'd like to know is, why do mathematicians suppress these discoveries? He said that my work was equivalent to the Marx Brothers. He said that I don't show nothing to do with science, because the work does not show any hypothesis that can be found in academia. I believe that one of these days everything is going to come out of the wash. Anyways, I've shown you how the periodic table seems to go together. Now I'm going to show you a little bit more about CubicWonder. Now what's so special about CubicWonder is that it's made up of different sections similar to the elements. So let's start by spinning around the Plato cube. Now I know very little about the three-dimensional geometry of molecules in chemistry. Now the chemists show three-dimensional lattice work for different elements, and this matches very much to the geometry, 3D geometry of CubicWonder. Now universities do not seem to want to teach any 3D geometry. They talk about chaos theory, and they've done it for years. A few years ago, the Mathematicians Forum said only a crank would work with trivial geometry that nobody else understands. Now it's pretty sure that the 3D geometry of elements do not come out of the mathematicians' equations for chaos theory, because they do not show not one 3D entity to work with. Now they've suppressed CubicWonder for 14 years. They've never mentioned CubicWonder. It is obvious that they don't need CubicWonder. But maybe the people that work in three-dimensional geometry of the molecules should take an interest in CubicWonder. Okay, if you look at this Plato cube in front, I show red, cyan and blue. They are all sections of octahedrons. Let's take these three colors away and see what we've got. Now you can see what we've been left with, a beautiful dual tetrahedron, or what you call Star of David. Okay, now we'll take the purple tetrahedron away. Now we are showing a yellow tetrahedron, and notice we have a green octahedron in the center. Okay, let's take a look at the purple tetrahedron. And this one shows the white octahedron in the center. But actually it's a green and a white octahedron. Now if we take the purple colors away, you can see the green and white octahedron. Okay, that shows us the 3D geometry of the Plato cube. Now we have the Bucky cube. So let's take a look at the Bucky cube. If you have 4 Plato cubes, you'll find a Bucky cube in the center. And if you have 4 Bucky cubes, you'll find a Plato cube in the center. Now I explained this in my videos, and these are going back 14 years, but the videos are still there on my channel. Anyways, let's get back to the Bucky cube. And let's take some stuff away. Now first of all, I'm just going to select 3 colors, red, blue and cyan, and hide the rest. And you can see that we're left with 6 pyramids going to the center. Okay, now I'm going to select yellow and purple and hide the rest of the colors. And now you can see that we are left with 8 tetrahedrons that are all going to the center. They call this a hexa, a big long name, but there is a name for this configuration. There used to be a lot of interest in 3D geometric shapes, but now only the chaos theory mathematicians seem to get all the limelight, and all these famous people are not even mentioned anymore. It seems that anything to do with 3D geometry is rejected for being published as being unsuitable for publishing. These people are in control. Okay, this can now break down to 4 yellow tetrahedrons, and then it'll break down to 4 purple tetrahedrons. I think anybody that's interested in a molecular structure, a chemist and stuff like that, should take an interest in this 3D geometry. You can't do this with chaos. Anyways, the Bucky Cube has got another interesting feature that I'd like to show you. Now let's go back to the full Bucky Cube again. Now what's amazing about the Bucky Cube is that it will slice into a hexagon. Now if you study this geometry, you could see that that hexagon should rotate 90 degrees around the blue base that I show. Now let's take a look at the other half of this hexagon. And now you can see that the yellow tetrahedrons are shown and not the purple ones. Now I really think that universities should start focusing on 3D geometry, because elements and DNA is very important. Chaos theory is okay for mathematicians to brag about their equations, but it doesn't do anything for DNA or elements and things like that. Anyways, I think I've showed enough order for today. So I think I'm going to call it a day now. So this is Paul saying thank you very much for watching my video.